Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Tank and Link for organizing the 28th edition of the Aerial Firefighting Conference and Exhibition Series and for bringing together leading experts and practitioners here in Rome. I would also like to thank the organizers for holding this important event under the patronage of the Italian National Fire and Rescue Service and the Global Fire Monitoring Center. I strongly believe that such partnerships are essential for strengthening international cooperation in addressing the growing challenge of wildfires. Allow me briefly introduce myself. My name is İsmail, and I currently serve as the chair of the United Nations Forum on Forest. The UNFF is the only intergovernmental policy platform on forests within the United Nations system with universal membership. Since its establishment in 2000, the forum has served as the central global platform dedicated to promoting the management, conservation and sustainable development of all types of forest. Over the years, several important milestones have been achieved within this framework. These include the adoption of the UN Strategic Plan for Forests 2017 and 2030, which includes 6 global forest goals guiding global forest policy and cooperation. The UN Strategic Plan for Forests provides an overarching framework for forest-related contributions to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Global Biodiversity Agenda. At its core lies the vision of a world where all forests are sustainably managed and contribute to economic, environmental and social well-being for present and future generations. In recent years, wildfires have emerged as one of the most pressing global challenges affecting forests and landscapes worldwide. Climate change, land degradation, biodiversity loss, and unsustainable land use practices are increasing the frequency and intensity of fires across many regions. Within the framework of UNFF, several initiatives and policy discussions have been undertaken to address these challenges. For example, in 2023, India hosted a country-led initiative on forest fires, forest certification and sustainable forest management in line with UNFF rules, bringing together countries and stakeholders to exchange experiences and strengthen international cooperation on wildfire management. Another important milestone in this context was the 8th International Wildland Fire Conference held in Porto, Portugal in May 2023, where governments, international organizations and experts adopted a joint statement highlighting the urgent need to strengthen global cooperation and promote integrated fire management as a key approach to addressing the growing risk of forest and landscape fires. I had the honor to participate in this conference in my capacity as chair of the United Nations Forum on Forests. In 2024, the United Nations Forum on Forests took note of the outcomes of this conference, recognizing the importance of strengthening international cooperation on wildfire management and integrated fire management approaches. In October 2024, a special international event entitled Forests for the World was held here in Rome in the context of the G7 process. The event was organized by the Italian National Academy of Science in cooperation with the Italian Ministry of Agriculture, Food Sovereignty and Forestry and other partners. As a continuation of this process, initiated in Italy, during Canada's G7 presidency in 2025, the Kanasaskis Wildfire Charter was adopted. This document represents one of the first high-level political commitments aimed at strengthening global capacity to address extreme wildfires, emphasizing international cooperation, preparedness, and coordinated response to increasingly severe forest and landscape fires. In parallel, the Global Fire Management Hub Plenary 2025 marked a major milestone in advancing global coordination on wildfire management. This initiative has the potential to become a game-changing platform, bringing together governments, international organizations, and experts to enhance knowledge sharing, strengthen early warning systems, and support capacity building efforts worldwide. As UNFF, we attend and support this initiative. Another significant step forward was the country-led initiative of Turkey on integrated fire management held in Istanbul from 2 to 22 October 2025 in support of the work of the United Nations Forum on Forest. The meeting was hosted by the General Directorate of Forests of Turkey and brought together government representatives, international organizations, experts, and stakeholders to discuss policy approaches and practical experiences in addressing the growing challenges of forest and landscape fires. The main outcome of this meeting was the Istanbul Report on Integrated Fire Management. The report highlights the importance of the adoption integrated approaches that combine prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery, and stresses the need for the stronger international cooperation, knowledge sharing, capacity development, and improved early warning and monitoring systems. The report also provides recommendations to strengthen global dialogue and collaboration on wildfire management within the framework of the United Nations Forum on Forests and other international processes. At the COP30 Climate Summit in Belém, Brazil in November 2025, global leaders also launched a major call to action to combat deforestation and wildfires, aiming to make standing forests more valuable than cleared land. Key initiatives including the Tropical Forests Forever facility and a broad international partnership to strengthen cooperation on wildfire management. As UNFF, we actively participated to COP30 by supporting Forest Pavilion and many others. Recognizing this growing risk, the United Nations Environmental Assembly adopted a landmark resolution in December 2025 on resolution on strengthening the global management of wildfires. This resolution highlights the need for stronger international cooperation, improved early warning systems, monitoring, capacity building, and financing mechanisms, while emphasizing the importance of the integrated fire management approach. The United Nations Environment Assembly resolution officially acknowledged the international efforts by recognizing the contributions of the collaborative partnerships on forest, the Global Fire Management Hub, the United Nations Environment Programme, the United Nations Forum on Forests, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the World Meteorological Organization, and other relevant international and regional bodies in promoting integrated fire management and wildfire resilience. This resolution calls member states and members of the United Nations specialized agencies and invites other relevant partners and stakeholders and international organizations to adopt sustainable forest management and ecosystem-based approach and to strengthen national and regional strategies for context-appropriate prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery from wildfires. Ladies and gentlemen, as a continuation of these efforts, the 21st session of the United Nations Forum on Forest will take place in May 2026 at the United Nations headquarters in New York, focusing on strengthening policy guidance and accelerating the implementation of global forest commitments. During this session, Turkey will also contribute to discussions on forest policy and wildfire management. In addition, a side event will be organized in cooperation with the Global Fire Management Hub, an initiative led by FAO and UNFF, to further strengthen dialogue and cooperation on integrated fire management and wildfire resilience. Looking ahead, another important global milestone will be the UN Climate Conference, COP31, which will take place in Antalya, Turkey, in November this year. Antalya is a region particularly sensitive to forest fires and hosts the International Forestry Training Center of the Turkish General Directorate of Forestry, which plays an important role in capacity building and training on wildfire management. Ladies and gentlemen, wildfires are no longer a challenge confined within national borders. They have become a global risk that demands coordinated policy frameworks, strong operational capacity, and effective international cooperation. At the same time, wildfire management cannot be approached solely as a technical issue. It must also reflect an ecological perspective, taking into account entire ecosystems, including biodiversity, wildlife, natural habitats, as well as cultural and archaeological heritage. This makes it essential to bridge technology with ecological understanding. Even pilots and operational teams must increasingly integrate ecosystem awareness into their work. In this context, the efforts of the United Nations Forum on Forests, together with partners such as FAO and UNEP, are of great importance in promoting integrated and collaborative approaches to wildfire management. Against this background, platforms like the Aerial Firefighting Conference and Exhibition Series play a critical role. I would like to sincerely congratulate Tangent Link for successful bringing together stakeholders here in Rome. What makes this platform particularly valuable is its ability to connect global policy discussions with practical implementation, operational experience, innovation, and technological advancement. Equally important, these gatherings create a unique space where governments, international organizations, and the private sector come together. Strengthening this collaboration is not optional, it is essential. In particular, I believe that a more active and structured engagement of the private sector with the initiatives led by institutions such as UN, FAO, and UNFF would generate significant benefits for all parties and contribute to more effective global outcomes. Because in the face of increasing wildfire risk, we cannot act in isolation. We must act together. I am confident that the dialogue and partnerships fostered through platforms like this will enhance operational capacity, improve coordination, and build more resilient landscapes, ultimately contributing to a safer and more sustainable world for present and future generations. Thank you very much.